freedom, man. That's what it's all about. You've got to groove on freedom, like the good book says.
Welcome. You are listening to What on Earth is Happening. This show will discuss the topics of human consciousness, mind control, natural law, the occult, and all issues that affect the freedom of the people of Earth. What on Earth is Happening will endeavor to shine light upon the darkness of our world and to offer empowering solutions to the problems we face as humanity approaches its critical moment of choice. And now, here is your host, Mark Passio.
Welcome one and all. You're watching What on Earth is Happening. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. And here on What on Earth is Happening, we are ending slavery one mind at a time. Welcome and thank you for tuning in today. Today is Sunday, February 5th, 2023. This show is episode number 264 of What on Earth is Happening. Please remember that What on Earth is Happening is a tapestry. It is a collection of information. It is aggregate information. So I always recommend new viewers not to watch from the newest episodes, but to go back to episode number 1 and listen and watch in order from number 1 without skipping around at your own pace. And that's how you'll gain maximum benefit from the information that we cover here, because newer shows, to understand them, they do have prerequisite information. I know people still insist that that is not the truth, and they try to listen from the most recent shows. But I can assure you, to really get the full tapestry of information, you have to listen to the shows in order from number 1 forward, or you will not really truly get the overall worldview picture that has to emerge. And again, people will debate that until the end of time, but I'm telling people that that's true and to please keep that in mind. We have a great show lined up for you here today. I'm going to be interviewing Will Keller of One Great Work Network and Natural Freedom League. Will has done an outstanding job in conveying the message of natural law and true freedom. And he's one of the premier content creators on One Great Work Network, so we'll be interviewing him shortly. I'm going to jump over to my laptop for some announcements and housekeeping. So let's do that. Again, thank you to Will himself for the great artwork. He always does a fantastic job, and we'll be bringing him on momentarily. Please keep in mind we are on a new schedule this year for What on Earth is Happening, with all of the issues that I'm facing and things that I have to accomplish this year. I'm going through a move in early April. I'll probably be actually performing the move in late March. I have to be out of this residence by early April. So things will go down. The things that may go down are this show. I may not be able to do the show during a certain time period, probably maybe of a week or two. I'm going to try to confine it to. We'll see what happens. The player on the One Great Work Network homepage, the main player on the front page, will probably go down for about the same amount of time while I reset my network up in my new residence that I'll be moving into. So to that effect, I have made the show 2 hours this year. 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time each Sunday from January through June. My channel is up at band.video, hoping to garner a wider audience range by posting there. I did not get to post any new videos. I've been super busy actually setting up the new server for One Great Work Network that everyone crowdsourced. I'll remind everyone of that and thank them for that in a moment. But my band.video channel is up. My documentary is up there. It's getting some views. I'm glad to see that. You could visit my band.video channel at band.video/channel/Mark-Passio. That is the URL there if you want to visit the band.video channel. I will be posting more content definitely this week. The How to Become the True Media seminar coming at us this July through December of 2023. This is a online technology skills sharing seminar hosted on the Telegram platform. It takes place every Monday night from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, from Monday, July 10th to Monday, December 11th. And it should say 2023 on this slide. I'm going to correct it right now. You know, I'm not insusceptible to error, so it happens sometimes. But there you go, fixed. So please do keep in mind that we have limited space available in the seminar, and enrollment will open on April 1st, 2023. That's Saturday, April 1st. Enrollment opens, and we stay open with enrollment until 1 week before the seminar, around the 4th of July. I'll probably close enrollment the night of the 4th of July this year. So if you want to enroll, I suggest enrolling early. Don't wait until the last minute. I will make enrollment available on donation gifts, and you can link into that from the main website, howtobecomthetruemedia.com. The One Great Work Network, going strong with over 70 content creators. OneGreatWorkNetwork.com is the URL. Do check it out. Please support all the great content creators. There's donation pages on almost all of their individual blog websites on this site. The main website, OneGreatWorkNetwork.com. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. Fantastic content up on the One Great Work Network. Again, I've made a new category in What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. And that category is technology donations. You could see it here on the right-hand side where the categories are listed. And if you click the categories tab on the main menu, which is what this page is displaying, you'll see the category right here, technology donations. And what this is crowdsource funding for more expensive items that we require to continue to run One Great Work Network and What on Earth is Happening. So to describe it, What on Earth is Happening donation gifts crowdsource funding is the idea that many hands make light work. And if people contribute and crowdsource fund something, we can get the equipment that we need more quickly. The technology donation section of What on Earth is Happening donation gifts makes it possible for supporters of What on Earth is Happening to help fund the purchase of technology items required for What on Earth is Happening and One Great Work Network, specifically those items which are considered to be too expensive for a single individual to donate via our Amazon technology wish list. If I put computers up there, one person would have to purchase them, and I think that that is unfair. I think that if we're all interested in the prospect of true human freedom and a stateless society, and a society whereby people understand objective morality and natural law, I think people can come together to make that happen by donating for the tech items that are responsible for helping to put the word out. So that's what the crowdsource funding is all about. I believe we're at 17. We're over the halfway price. Let me check it actually, and see where we're at with donations for the laptop that I'm going to use for presentations this year. I'll go right ahead and just open my web browser and display it here in real time. Let's see. So if we go to donation gifts and go to categories, and then we scroll right here to technology donations, and there's one item there, which is the donation toward the MacBook Pro. And then this is the actual page. We are at 2,100 out of 3,500. So people have been doing a fantastic job. I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for all the wonderful and generous donations that they've made. So we're almost 2/3 there, folks. This will help me this year with the presentations that I'm going to be delivering. So thank you to everyone who has donated already. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who donated toward the Mac Studio for the new One Great Work Network video and FTP server. So that is set up and it's working right now. So we have a couple of, tweaks that we have to make. But in general, the server has already been set up and it's performing fine. So, I have some configuration things to do still, but, it's going to be 100% in no time. And it's the fastest machine I've ever worked on, quite frankly. So thank you to everyone who donated for that item, because you're making at least one element of my work somewhat easier. And the work to set up that machine went as smooth as butter. So very impressive piece of technology as far as I'm concerned so far. Hopefully it will continue to perform that way far into the future. So that is the new technology donations aspect of What on Earth is Happening donation gifts. So let's move on. I will be a featured virtual speaker at Anarchapulco 2023 Resist. This starts tomorrow and goes for 5 days. So do check it out at anarchapulco.com. My presentation will be entitled Anarchy in the Occult Part 3, The Only Solution to Slavery. And folks, it is hard-hitting. People are not going to like what I have to say, more likely than not. And that's okay. It's still true anyway. And people don't want to hear that if they're not part of the solution, that they are acquiescing to the condition of slavery. If they're not speaking out, if they're not opposing it with their voice, it doesn't matter who gets offended by hearing that. It's still true. So I didn't hold back in this presentation, and parts of it are scathing. I wouldn't say it's completely berating, but I hold the anarchist community to a higher standard. And when I see their failures, I find them unacceptable, because these are people who should know better. And unfortunately, they do not, as of yet, know better. That's the problem. So I went in pretty hard on them. Let's put it that way. So this one is not for the faint of heart. And, it's not vicious. I get a little bit more vicious right here on my own show sometimes. I'm trying to temper that, but it comes out of me sometimes because of what I see. So it's a little lighter than what you might hear on What on Earth is Happening. I'd say probably a lot lighter, but it's still, as far as my public presentations go, I went in on them pretty tough. This is the title card of that presentation that will premiere tomorrow on Anarchapulco's live stream for the conference. So this is Anarchy in the Occult Part 3, The Only Solution to Slavery. Check it out tomorrow on their stream. You could sign up for it at anarchapulco.com. So I will be delivering Two Masks, Same Face, a presentation that's probably over 5 years in the making. The dark occult origins of Nazism and communism. I hope to blow a lot of people's minds with the information I'll be presenting in this one. I'm going to consider this one of my magnum opus works. So this is coming up in the fall. We have a venue and a date, and I did not put it yet on this slide. I didn't get a chance to do that this week, but I'm going to announce that we have secured a venue. It's going to be the Hightstown Firehouse. And I'll get the exact name of it. There is a more detailed name, but it's going to be in Hightstown, New Jersey, at the Hightstown Firehouse. This is a hop, skip, and a jump from three very good hotels that are just off of I-95 in Hightstown. So we are not going to be doing this one at a hotel. It will be done at the second floor, a very, very nice venue on the second floor of Hightstown Firehouse. And it will be taking place Saturday, September 30th. Saturday, September 30th, 2023. I'll be doing event announcements regarding this one through the end of this season of What on Earth is Happening, putting it up on my website. I haven't done all of that legwork yet as far as, doing all the promotion, but I'll be promoting that on my website, here on the show, and on social media so that we can really pack the Hightstown Firehouse venue for this great presentation. You're not going to want to miss this one if you're anywhere in the Philadelphia area, in the Hightstown, New Jersey area, or if you even want to come from a further distance. We do have limited seats available. We can only, by code, put 200 people in this room. So that's it. Once we, invite 200 people through, donations, through donation gifts, that's how we're going to do this. We're going to put the invite on donation gifts. And if people donate for, the invitation, they'll receive a personal donation to come to this privately hosted event. So that's how it's going to work, through donation gifts. We'll be putting the invites on the website probably certainly within the next month. So they're probably going to go very quickly because we definitely only have 200 seats available in Hightstown Firehouse. We cannot pack it any more than that. So it's going to be Hightstown, New Jersey, Saturday. It's an all-day event. Saturday, September 30th, 2023, for Two Masks, Same Face, the dark occult origins of Nazism and communism. Don't Tread on Philly meets on the second Wednesday of every month for the D-Top Happy Hour, Don't Tread on Philly Happy Hour. This is a social meetup for people concerned about the loss of freedom, and we meet here in South Philadelphia on Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month. So this is coming up this coming Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come on out and network with other freedom-minded and freedom-oriented individuals from all over the Philadelphia area. If you're in the area, this is a meetup that you do not want to miss. They've been tremendously successful. I hope that continues into the future. It's always free to attend this meetup. There is no cost associated with it, and it takes place at the Dive, which is in South Philadelphia on East Passio, 947 East Passio Avenue. For more information, visit don'ttreadonphilly.com, or you could go to our Facebook group, and you can get event announcements there as well. The What on Earth is Happening IPFS project is going. It's going slowly, but we have several people interested, and I ask everyone who has requested to take part in the project to please bear with me. I am the only one technically setting all of this stuff up, so there is a queue, okay? There's a line to get my personal technical attention to do this. So please be patient. Don't give up on that. I will get to you. It's just I'm ultra busy, and I'm obviously going to be dealing with a move. So please be patient with me. We're going to make these nodes happen. We have a node online with partial data up. I have to finish the upload of the data, and one node will be up officially. So it's happening, but it's going slowly, and that's okay. I'd rather it be done slowly and correctly than try to rush it and not do it right. So please do be patient with me. I am the only one on this project. No one else. I have not trained anyone else on how to do it. And so, I'm the only one who is going to be actually interacting with the people who take part in this project. So again, just please be patient with me. If you want to be involved in the What on Earth is Happening IPFS project, you can download the document with preliminary requirements at whatonearthishappening.com/IPFS. And if you definitely know that you qualify for the preliminary requirements, then get in touch with me, through the instructions, and we'll go from there. You can call into the show today to talk with me and my special guest, Will Keller, on the Telegram platform. Go to whatonearthishappening.com/call. That will connect you into our Telegram call-in room. The ARC 2.0 is currently still available. Going to be available as long as I'm able to continue to do this. So if you want the whole picture, not a partial picture, but if you want the entirety of the information, you want the ARC. The ARC is a hard drive or solid state drive, whatever you happen to send to me. And I will fill it up with 26,000 audio files, 9,500 books, and 3,400 videos from my own personal archive of collected data, my own research library, digital research library, if you will. The ARC stands for the Amazing Repository of Knowledge. And when people see what it comprises, they acknowledge that it is an amazing repository. So if you are interested in the ARC offer, visit whatonearthishappening.com/ARC, and you could fill in the form to get the PDF with the shipping directions, which are rigid, admittedly, but that's to protect your property and to save me time not having to deal with a bunch of problems. I've gone through an extensive workflow that very much works for me and my schedule. So please be respectful of that if you request the ARC drive. whatonearthishappening.com/ARC. You can make donations to receive hard items, like physical items, like T-shirts, stickers, coasters, flash drives, DVDs, the complete Passio collection, solid state drive, which has all of my work in one place, at gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. That's the URL for What on Earth is Happening donation gifts, gifts.whatonearthishappening.com. If you prefer rather to make a straight donation to the What on Earth is Happening and One Great Work Network operations, you can visit whatonearthishappening.com/donate. And there you have a myriad of donation options, including our Amazon wish list. There were 2 items on the wish list this past week. Thank you to the individuals who purchased those items for What on Earth is Happening. I have received them and I'm already using them. So very much appreciated for people that did those donations. So thank you. As a matter of fact, the show today is being done on the new audio interface, and I'm really liking its performance. So thank you for those individual technology donations for the people who donated for those items. Thank you. That's all my announcements for today. So let's jump over to Will Keller. Give me a moment to bring him on. Let's get that set up. And I have to put my headset on to speak with him over Telegram and anyone who calls in. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my special guest on this episode of What on Earth is Happening, Will Keller of One Great Work Network. Will, welcome to What on Earth is Happening.
Welcome, my brother. It's a great pleasure and honor to be on your show, Mark. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Same here. It's an honor to have you. Will is an absolute star pupil of How to Become the True Media seminar. He's become a premier content creator and a conference organizer. Will, the first thing I want to open up with is I just want to say thank you for the great work that you have done. It's been outstanding. You're a producer on One Great Work Network as well. You actually are the producer of What on Earth is Happening. So you help bring this onto the air on One Great Work Network each week. And I would just want to thank you for the great work that you've done. It's been stellar. It's been absolutely outstanding. And I think you're a shining example of what people can do when they set their mind to something, because I'll let you tell it. This was not always your background, doing this type of work and even knowing the type of technicals that are involved. So I'd like you to share. I'm just going to give you the floor and just share your journey of how that went and what you encountered and experienced during, not only your awakening process, but the process that led you to become the great content creator that you now are.
Excellent. Yeah, no, thank you for those comments, Mark. Appreciate it. I'm actually blessed in a lot of ways, having a really close-knit family. My parents were really freedom-orientated, and my dad always put street smarts before book smarts, meaning that, common sense, the right thing, morality, before what you learn in everyday society. Always do the right thing first. And that had a huge impact on me. And also, being raised on a ranch, being close with nature. I do have a music background, which kind of gave me a lot of delivery, and, I'm comfortable being on stage, which I did have to learn actually, fairly recently within the last couple years. So, I was in the music industry for 10 years in my late teens all the way up to my early 30s. And so that was a pretty impactful time. I ran a record label. I had musicians, producers. So I had a tech background to an extent in the musical department, also making graphics and stuff. But then there was, a long period of time when I became a father. Really was a game changer. I've already been retired from the music industry and touring, across the world and country. And I really embraced more of a grounded atmosphere. I was that guy that wanted to homestead out in the woods and, kind of be detached from all the craziness of society. And, there's still an aspect of that I do want to do. But getting into, I would say the turning point for me, right before my daughter was born, it was, battling with drug addiction. And coming out of my music career and stumbling into this addiction, which I think is relevant for a lot of people nowadays. There's all types of addictions, but it really made me face myself in the mirror. I'm literally in the mirror every day. I'd wake up and I do construction from a family business, and I'd look at myself and like, fuck, how did I get in this situation? So that was the turning point that set me on a path of, who am I? How do I operate? Why do I do the things that I do? And that dove me headfirst into just self-development. Got into a lot of, the New Age movement, and it inevitably led me into occultism, which I found extremely beneficial from a self-improvement and develop stance. And that helped me battle drug addiction and come out of there. But the tools that I gained with understanding my own psychology and how my own mind worked, I had a new addiction, and I was obsessed with the nature of reality and how things operate. And, a few years later, coming across your work, which, springboard me into really wanting to take that moral responsibility and be a public speaker. And, you encapsulated your work. It inspired me because you encapsulated what was going on. Everything that I was learning from these mystery traditions in self-development and personal initiation, you actually sum it up into practical means of and applying it to the real world, like what is actually going on. And that had a huge impact on me. So the moral responsibility and the obligation, the duty to be a public speaker and to teach this type of information of natural rights, natural law, and true freedom really weighed heavy on my mind. And that stayed there for, I would say, about a year and a half. It wasn't until I went to Anarchadelphia and took your, how to teach natural law seminar, which was excellent. And, I went into that seminar thinking that I was going to get a lot of rhetoric and this is what you should say and this is how you should approach it. But the whole seminar was on tech. And that was mind blowing to me. I was like, oh, shit, I didn't even think about there's all this tech stuff. How do you become the media, the modern media? How do you get a message out to thousands of people? And just diving back into, what I've learned thus far as far as my tech skills, which were still really low. I mean, I played with, graphic design just a little bit, the basics. And then, of course, taking your how to become the true media course. We just finished the third year. So I took it 3 times and I'm learning every year. I'm learning more and more. And then just, applying the trivium and diving into it. If I don't know something, that's not going to hinder my willpower. It's going to motivate me more. I'm just going to go head first and act. And by trial and error, you slowly get better and better and you just apply. So
I was going to jump in and just comment on that when you attended at Anarchadelphia, the How to Teach Natural Law seminar, which admittedly came as a surprise to many people. I heard this over and over from attendees. We had about 110 attendees of that seminar, and they were all expecting, as you said, rhetoric. They were expecting, what do you say to people? And I came out at the beginning of that seminar and I told them, most of you already know natural law or you wouldn't be here at this seminar. You've listened to my work. You've researched other people's work. You have a general solid foundation in the understanding of objective morality. We asked many people, like, what is a right? People could respond and answer with the definition. So I showed everyone, you guys know natural law. The problem is, how many people could actually reach out to others publicly who they do not know all over the medium that we have at our availability and our opportunity called the internet, that is an amazing connective technology that could connect people's minds, and people could learn at a distance, never knowing the person who is instructing them, is giving them the information, is teaching them. And I asked people to tell me if they could do it right now. Could they do it? And hardly anyone could. Regardless of where their knowledge base was already at, they, by their own admission, were unable to reach out to the public because they did not know the technology that is required to reach out to the public. And this is where I feel we are really getting beaten badly. This is where the freedom movement is failing as a whole in the aggregate. If you look at the absolute psychopathic control freaks and their whole control system, what they have set up is a technocracy. It's rule through technology. I call it, and many others have termed it, a technocratic occultocracy, which means rule by the occult through technology. The occultists are going to rule people through technology. Well, how did they accomplish that? They accomplished that by controlling the means by which information is disseminated publicly. And then they insert those ideas through mental manipulation, psychological manipulation into the minds of human beings worldwide through their forms of media, including television, newspapers, radio, magazines, internet, Hollywood, etc. Okay? And then they're changing their behavior to conform with what they want them to be like and do. So that's how it works. That's how the whole information process works. If bad information through their technology and media go into the human mind in the aggregate, behavior is degraded. What is going to be the resultant human condition? Slavery. That's what we have now. We have the chaos and dissolution and degradation of the condition called slavery. Conversely, if people learn the same technologies that they're using, We can learn video, we can learn print, we can learn audio, we can learn internet, websites, etc. If we have at our disposal the same information dissemination technologies where we could put the information from us out into the worldwide community, then we could do the opposite. We could deprogram people. We could give them true and good information that will inform their mindset and their thoughts, their worldview, and then it will inform their behaviors. Then their behavior will be in alignment with objective morality and natural law, and then we have a world based on freedom. The result would be our behavior in the aggregate interacts with natural law's consequence, and we have freedom, we have order, we have prosperity, etc., on and on. It's so logical that I think it completely escapes people's view because they're not seeing the forest for the trees. They want to analyze little bits of minutia, but they never see the systems level approach that if we're going to disseminate this information, we ourselves have to command that technology. We have to learn it. We have to be adept with it so that we can reach millions of other people worldwide. Your entire take on that, and specifically what I would like to know is, what was your level of, I know you said through music you knew a little bit about technology, but when you really saw what was going to be involved in information conveyance, what was your feeling or attitude? I want to know what was going on in your mind, because I think a lot of other people experience similar things, and they get overwhelmed or they don't know where to begin. Tell me your journey in that process.
Yes, excellent. And, after my music career, I was very much anti-technology. I mean, no TV, no computer in my house, all this kind of stuff. So I kind of had a fresh start of learning technology again. And also, the word technology, technology, it's techno for a craft for logic. So this is how this is the tool that we use to spread a
That's
message. Right. And so in my music career, what I needed to do, I can go in and get little things done, make a little generic flyer, or, I knew my engineering software, Pro Tools, extremely well, but that was pretty much the extent. I mean, a little bit of video editing, but, not to an extent that I was making music videos. I'd had other people do that. Right. So it was still a very basic level. And it is overwhelming. And I hear this for a lot of people, right? It's a world within itself. But yet this is what it means to be literate in the modern day. You yourself have said this, and it's so true. And it's good to understand, first have a basis on what you want to do yourself. I think this is a process of self-discovery. For me, I like public speaking. I want to be on the stage and spread a message and convey a message that way, and through digital means as well. So that's kind of my passion. Understanding your own personal niche, whether it's writing a book or just making videos or an audio podcast, you have to know that first. And then also the fundamentals of tech. This is something that I learned in your class, just file management. And the general, the foundation of having a computer and maintaining it, so everything is organized, so your workflow is at its most efficient level. That was so important. And I'd say that's one of the biggest things that I've learned from you, Mark, too, working close with you on projects and stuff, is workflow and just sticking with it. If there's a problem, just like in the natural world, you can figure it out. And, you just have to take in information. The trivium process is the same for critical thinking as it is for manifesting reality. So understanding that process and then applying it to just learning tech is extremely important. And just one thing at a time. I like to reverse engineer a lot of things. A good friend of mine, Becca, she's a great graphic design artist. And it's like, well, how the hell did you do that? And I would reverse engineer things that I would see on other people's videos, podcasts. How did they do what they did? And you have to take in information. You have to learn. But the foundation is extremely important, the basics of computing.
I want to go back to what you said about the need to have an attitude of persistence and to stick with it. This is so important. It's one of the tenets of the seminar is never give up. And even if there's a problem, and people have seen tech problems occur, I am slowly working things out this season. A lot of software has changed. And that's the problem, is that developers, we are interdependent upon developers. I wouldn't say we're entirely dependent, but software is so important in putting the word out that changes happen. New bugs get introduced into software, and then you have to find workarounds. You have to have a logical thought process to begin with. And that's part of, again, as you said, the trivium process. You apply it in this just as much as you apply it to understanding philosophy and morality. It's the same basic tool set. And once you learn that, you could apply it to anything. Once you really have that tool in your tool chest, you can take it out and use it for just about anything. And that's why, the How to Become the True Media seminar tries to instill those characteristics, those personality characteristics. I'm trying to get people to build those up in themselves so that they become a person who doesn't just abandon something and walk away and say, that's too hard. They stick with it and they continue with it until they learn. And you see this in just about every real content creator out there. What they are doing is they're going through a process and a workflow, and no one is perfect and no software is perfect. But what they'll do is they'll refine their method, they'll find workarounds, and they will never give up. They will keep doing it until they succeed. That's a life lesson. That's not just a technology lesson. That's a lesson for a human's path in life. So I just want to say again, thank you for your stick-to-itiveness and your dedication and your persistence, because those are characteristics that we each really have to develop and truly have at our disposal if we're going to do work like this. So thank you for your persistence in taking the class, and then in, again, your learning process with all of this technology. Because again, I look at your work and you do a fantastic job with all of the aesthetics and the philosophy as well. It's a combined thing that comes together, and it really, really shines brightly. So great work again. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Let's talk about what you see going on in the world as far as the immediate future is concerned. Let's switch gears a little bit and get into that. I would like to know where you see humanity's awakening. Is this process accelerating? Is it stalled? Is it heading in the right direction? And what do you see as the requirements that are going to be needed going into the future for people to truly learn and deploy as far as not only knowledge but skill sets are concerned?
Excellent question. Yeah, so I there's definitely not a great awakening, and I hear this term a lot, but I will say it's a great opportunity. There is a great awareness going on right now. I definitely see that. I mean, from the pandemic, there's a lot of people that understand, something is fucked up. Things aren't right. And to me, this is great opportunity to really get on the battlefield and use your voice and act now. And that's extremely important. But we're still seeing, the pseudo reality that people are living in. And if we can simplify just what is going on, there is ultimately fragmentation in the psyche of the human species, and this has created a disassociation where the majority of people are still living in this false reality of how reality operates, detached from nature, from natural law, from truth, is what it is. And this is it's such a crucial time period for people to act. I ask people, what is your line in the sand? How bad does it have to get before you say, shit, all right, I'm going to get out there and start making content and spreading the message? So that's really important. What we've been through with the pandemic, that's a pretty hard line to go across to anyways. If this doesn't motivate you, what will? This is a type of question that people need to ask themselves, Commenting on, on social media platforms and stuff is not doing the work. That is not action. We need to formulate and strategize and be effective in our messaging. And that can be tough for a lot of people, right? Especially when you just start and you feel like you're not getting the reach. But like you said, you have to be determined. It's persistence. It's willpower.
Let's talk about social media for a brief second, since you hit upon that topic. Sure. A lot of people think that just, simple memeing and or just typing into the little box that they give you on someone else's social media platform is going to be sufficient. That's going to fulfill some requirement of speaking out. And I've criticized that approach many, many times, and it sounds like you're on the same page regarding that. If you really think about it, what they're doing is they're keeping you in a box. They actually give you a little box, and you're kept in that box. You can't expand outside of that box. You don't really have a platform there. It's you know what it is okay at. It's somewhat good at being able to simply promote and push people to your content. That's what I tend to use social media for. Occasionally I'll put some of my thoughts on there, rarely, but in general, what you see on my social media pages are links to go to my website or my Odyssey channel or my YouTube channel or something like that, where you can watch a longer form presentation or podcast. And then you can get a lot of ideas from that, and people just don't understand that just social media in and of itself is not going to take care of the problem. It's good to meme. It's good to just put out snippets of information. Fine. But that's not going to stand as a repository of information. And I think this is what a lot of people have begun figuring out with all the censorship that has occurred over the last few years. They're realizing at any given time, if that platform does not like what you are saying and they want to target you and they want to wipe out all of your content, they could do it in an instant. Not even overnight, in an instant, in a second, in a millisecond. They hit one button and you're offline. And all of your previous thoughts, all of your previous memes, etc., everything that you entered into the box goes offline immediately. That's why we have to learn systems of not only centralized information in a repository, but we need to now begin learning distributed information dissemination techniques, and that's what things like IPFS are all about, and even new technologies like Quordle and other distributed technologies. Even older technologies like BitTorrent are still very viable for distributed information. So let me ask you about, as an addendum, where do you see our information distribution systems going? Is that going in the right direction? And continue to talk about what you feel people need to do, their requirements, the requirements that they're going to really have to fulfill, and what they're really going to have to learn.
Yeah, great question. And I do love the IFPS system,
IPFS, yes.
System. I think. Yep. Yes, correct. I think that's really important, and I love that you're setting that up now, because, like you said, real quick, social media, this is a little tool, right, that can be utilized to grab attention and bring people to your hub, your main website, which needs to be protected, because, like you said, with flip of the switch, they can shut down your social media accounts, sometimes even your websites if the website's not secure and created properly. So that's really important. We also need to understand marketing and promotion, understanding how these social media platforms operate, which is really just how can we increase the viable message that we're trying to put out there, which is really important. But like you said, it's a box, it's a limiter of consciousness. So this isn't where you're going to be doing the majority of your work. And I use social media the same way. I use it as a promotional tool. Look, I have new content up. Go here, check it out. Make sure everything's backed up is extremely important. So that's one thing. I do like some other alternative platforms like Odyssey and BitChute. These are great, but we need to be versatile. Make content for YouTube. If it gets taken down, it gets taken down. But we still need to get the message out to the majority of people. And these larger platforms are where people that are not hip to what's going on, this is where they lie. So we need to utilize this and understanding some tactics as well, shorts and all this kind of like random stuff. But it's really the best thing that someone can do if they want to be a content creator and spread this message is have an outline. Have short-term outline, your short-term goals, and long-term, meaning that, create the website, understand what type of content you're doing. These are the platforms, but you need to generate someone to a 0 point, to that hub, to that website where they can reach you from there. So if you have a social media account that goes down, your content's still up safe at your hub location. So that's really, really important.
Exactly. I recently was talking to a friend and showing them my Odyssey website. And when they realized, not everything is in exact order. It's like there's no real ordering in there. Like you can't just drag videos around. It sort of puts them in there as it wants by date. There's no easy to make playlist because the playlist is blockchain based. So it doesn't work like YouTube or other video upload services. It has its own user interface and it has its own way of working, and you just have to sort of accept that. So, if I really want to organize that content, I'm doing it on my own website the way that I feel is effective and the way I want to put it out. And, the other thing is, problems happen. Just want to let people know my podcast section is not fully working right now. I fixed it up through the first 150 episodes, but some player links unfortunately broke because of Odyssey's upgrade to their own content delivery network. And I'm working on fixing those. I'll have them fixed by the end of this week. But just bear with me on that. It's like tech problems happen like that. We have to be up to date with that stuff. We have to understand what needs to be done to make corrections on the fly. And when that happens, it can be very frustrating and annoying. But you have to understand, tech is just right now what it is. It's like we can ask for improvements and we can start a conversation with developers. And I think that's so important. I didn't intend on this whole conversation between us being about solely technology. We can get into other things and wherever you want to take it. But just to hammer this point home, we really need to liaison with the software community to get specific things built that the freedom movement requires to get the word out. And a lot of people don't even know what those things are, let alone what to ask for. They don't know how any of that process works. When I have people come to even attempt to help, I can tell that they look uncomfortable because I know that they don't know the technology at all, and they see how much I'm dealing with and working with, and it can be, again, as we both have said, very overwhelming to people. And the issue with that is that's conquerable. That's not a set permanent condition. That is a changeable condition. And people just have to work it. It's like, if you're going to lose weight, you don't give up after 2 days, and you're obesely overweight and say, this is never going to work. You don't give up with tech, after seeing it originally and just think in your own mind, I would never be able to do that. You surprise yourself at what you can do if you try. This is about the human spirit of pushing forward with something, even if you're not comfortable with it. That's what the whole thing is about in the bigger sense, as far as human slavery is concerned and, the tyranny of government is concerned. It's about standing up to that, speaking out against it, getting up in its face, saying what's right. Even if you're up against a seeming insurmountable force, you still have to be on the side of what is right and press forward, even if it doesn't look like it's going to work. So, one of the things that we have to understand is that technology is inseparable from human freedom because it's the way we convey objective morality to the masses of people. And if we don't do that, the masses don't get truly morally educated, and then things don't change. As long as we're not involved in the process of human education in some capacity, then we are allowing the masses to remain in the same ignorant state without attempting to influence or improve their mental understanding, and then as a result, their behavior. And therefore, we're letting their ignorance enslave us. People have to really deeply understand that other people's ignorance is your enslavement. Other people's ignorance is your enslavement. I am going to let you tackle that one. That's a package at my door, and I very rarely step away to do anything like that. Cool. But I don't want them to not deliver this. It's important, and I do not want it to get stolen. So I'll let you answer that question, and I'll be right back.
Excellent. Yeah, and this will be a great transition, a segue into another category. And I'm extremely passionate about conscious parenting. And a question that I get from a lot of people is, technology and children and their kids. And my stance has varied throughout the years. And and absolutely, technology is inseparable for freedom. This is how we convey a message. It's very important that your children, that teenagers, preteens, have that foundation in technology. These are the modern tools that we use to convey a message, communicate with other people, and it's extremely important. I take the stance that I would rather teach my children than have someone else, especially an institute, show them the ropes, because they're going to do it how they want to do it. So, Mark, I was doing a good segue into conscious parenting, because a question that I get a lot is technology in children. And I think it's very important that we introduce our children to the foundational, the basics of computing. And, they do this in school. But again, if someone else is if the government institution is going to teach your children, they're going to do it how they want to do it. This is why, apps or social media platforms like TikTok are so popular. So there's definitely that aspect that we need to educate our children on these tools, and to do it in a way that doesn't just so important.
Exactly. To do it in a way that doesn't just throw a phone or a tablet into their hand, but introduces them to a creative tool set that can help them to not only better their own mind, but then through communication and publishing techniques, reach the minds of other people as well, once they have a firm handle on what really needs to be understood as far as objective morality, the tyranny of government, what's really going on in the world, how this mental manipulation works, and how it's our responsibility to morally educate ourselves and to help morally educate others. So, tell me about some of your process in the entire development of conscious parenting and some of the techniques that you employ, and ultimately where you see the future heading as far as how parents are going to themselves become more directly involved with the conscious development of their children.
Yeah, conscious parenting it's vital for freedom, to achieve freedom and to maintain freedom, because obviously the children is the future of society, and their level of awareness is directly related to their parents, or someone else's, like the government and culture, which I see culture as, the mouthpiece of tyranny. Culture can be neutral, right? We could have a culture based on objective morality and nature, because culture is just to cultivate. But now, in the current day, absolutely, we have a culture that is immoral and is disassociated from reality. So it's really important that parents, the realm of conscious parenting, can really change the tide for freedom, I believe, absolutely. Because we're constantly playing catch up. If parents don't self-actualize and realize morality and how the natural world operates, then their kids are going to get the information from the institutions and from culture, and then it's in this hamster wheel, and we're constantly getting shoved deeper down. So for me, conscious parenting is one of my biggest topics that I talk about, and there's all types of parenting styles. I focus on the principles of conscious parenting, meaning that every parent must know these principles of objective morality, natural law, and the trivium. These three things, right? So we understand how to act in the world, we understand how the world operates, nature, and we understand how to think. And these three principles to me are objective across the board. Every parent needs to understand this and teach this to their children as well. And what more would you want with those three categories, right? I mean, if you have those three categories being taught and understood by your children, the rest is in their creative expression and who they're going to be. But this is the foundation of humanity. Right. So it's extremely important.
I think it's one of the biggest responsibilities that if someone is going to bring a new life into the world and take on that responsibility in and of itself, the most important responsibility that comes right after the physical care of that being is going to be the moral upbringing of that being, so that that being does not turn into a psychopathic individual, does not turn into a uncaring, apathetic individual, a totally lazy, ignorant, person that doesn't want to get involved in bettering the world. And that's unfortunately what we have a lot of today. We have a lot of children raising children that they have not yet been raised into a conscious adult themselves, and then they're having children, regardless of their biological age. I think conscious parenting is one of the deepest moral responsibilities that exists in the world. And while I have not, chosen to have children to bring children into the world, I still think that to help people to understand the role of parenting as far as morally raising a child and to preparing that child for what they are going to encounter in the current world, the current reality that we're living in. There's no responsibility deeper than that as far as I'm concerned. Anyone that does that that truly does that and does it right is like a hero in my eyes, because they're people who are future proofing the future itself. They're going to make the future a better place and an easier place to operate in, as opposed to a more difficult one, if they take on that responsibility and do that job properly.
I agree 100%. It is the greatest responsibility. It's also the most sacred. Creating a child and raising that child, right? Raising their awareness. This is what it's all about, their level of consciousness. And I mean, it's the universe is holographic. This is what children are, right? They're the next fractals that should be expanding and getting more complex, more beautiful, more creative, right? As their awareness expands, this is what we're doing. We're supposed to be passing down to each generation. Unfortunately, it's the reverse. I mean, we have adults that are spiritual children that don't understand this type of information, and we're devolving, right, in that aspect. I would love to see that. Another topic that's really important too is just conscious conception. There's a lot of people that don't want to get into relationships, which I totally understand, especially with someone that's unaware. But when two people that are aware of what's going on, natural law, objective morality, come together, that is a beautiful thing. That's ultimately what we want to aim for, because this whole system is based on trauma. Where does it start? It starts at birth. That's where the trauma starts, and that's due to ignorance of the parents.
Think about how difficult it is if you only have one conscious parent and then the other parent is largely unconscious. Then if children are entered into that equation, that could be a potential disaster. And unfortunately, a lot of people in the conscious community and the freedom-oriented community find themselves in that position. It's a very difficult dynamic to navigate. And that's why I fully agree with what you're saying. If two people can find each other that are on the same page regarding, what's really going on in the world, that could be a very powerful thing, especially when it comes to having children, because then they're really on the same page as to how they're going to properly raise that child, and they have the same goals in mind as to what personality aspects that they want to try to cultivate and instill in the child, what they want them to learn, the ways that they want them to grow as a being. And they're not going to be butting heads and conflicting each other the entire time when trying to achieve those goals, for the child's betterment and for humanity's betterment. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's a very important dynamic that you brought up there. I fully agree with that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the norm nowadays is a co-parenting situation, right? There's not. It's a rarity that parents stay together or are together, and if they're aware, I mean, that's a whole different category. But so most parents are co-parenting. I'm in that situation as well, and I would say that. I mean, it's tough. There's a better awareness than most, I would say, on the other side. And we agree on principles, which to me are extremely important. No vaccinations, schooling, morality, this kind of stuff. But it can still be extremely difficult. Parents and the state promotes this, right? They promote parental war, and then they get involved, and these parents they're battling. And what parents need to understand is that everything you do is directly related to your children. So, a lot of parents, they battle just out of spite. They're having, from an emotional state, they're having an emotional reaction, and it's a war, and children suffer. And then, children look for that proxy parent elsewhere, whether it be culture, school, friends, whatever it may be. We need to keep the family dynamic needs to be solid, rock solid. This is what the social engineers understand. They know that they can, if they put that wedge right in the family unit, then it's fractured right from the beginning, and the mind control and the programming conditioning can really sink in. So it's so crucial for parents to take in this information, apply it to themselves, and influence their children on what is right.
Absolutely. The breakdown of that family dynamic really pushes children into the arms of the state most of all. And the state is set up to function that way, as that proxy parent that you talked about. That's why there's two major political parties in most political systems. One acts as the proxy father, one acts as the proxy mother. Here in the United States, those two parties are Republican and Democrat. The proxy daddy is the Republican Party. We're going to go and get the aggressors. We're going to protect you. We're going to be strong, this strong masculine figure. And then the proxy mother is the Democratic Party that wants to be the nanny state and, take care of everybody from cradle to grave, and take from some people that they deem have more than they should, and then redistribute wealth to people that they think should have it. All by theft, by violence, by coercion, by duress, none of it by moral means. Again, if mm-hmm. the family dynamic is not strong, and if morality is not taught by the true parental figures, taking on their true responsibility to morally educate and upbring that child in a proper moral way, the state is going to swoop in there like a vulture, tearing apart its already deadened, prey that it's going to go after its carrion, and it's just going to annihilate what's left, the remnants of that child. That again, that's why the family dynamic does have to remain strong if the child's going to ultimately have a strong moral upbringing. That's the only thing that could do that in the child's formative years, is a powerful, and conscious parental process that you're speaking about. Again, we have to get back to that. We've fallen so far away from that. It's been devastated. And if we don't get back to that, it's going to be even a tougher and larger challenge in reaching people from a moral standpoint.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, for sure. It's interesting because being in a co-parenting situation, And my daughter's mother and I, we stayed together in the same house through our daughter's formative years on purpose, even though we weren't, really together. We made that choice to do that. And, I'm not, everyone's situation is going to be different. But that was a valuable decision that was made. Absolutely. But communication with your children is so important. We need to deprogram ourselves. This is where it starts. A lot of parents think they know how to be a parent, but really it's just psychological transference. They're just doing to their children how they were done from their parents, and etc. Just the intergenerational mind control. And so deprogramming and conditioning, like, what is a parent? Right? I look at it more as a facilitator, a stewardship.
Yes.
Right. We're not on a superior level. We have the responsibility of this young being and guide this being. The kids are not our property. We don't own them. We look out for them. We guide them. That's what stewardship is, entrusted into one's care, with one's care. So it's really important that we get down to the fundamental levels of what conscious parenting is.
That's right.
And, conscious parenting is a trendy term. I mean, if you look it up, you see all these people from the New Age movement and self-help and stuff like that. But what does that mean? If you don't understand objective morality, then you are not conscious.
That's
You're
right.
not aware of reality, period. That's where it stems from.
If you still believe in government, it's not conscious parenting. If you're conveying to the
100%.
child to go and join either party and choose the left-right polarization paradigm, then that's not consciousness at all. Consciousness is the recognition. Part of it is the recognition that there is no authority in human flesh. There is no authority in the 3D. The only authority is natural law. The only authority is the laws of cause and effect. That's what truly binds us and is eternal and immutable, not man's law. And believing in man's law is just the belief in slavery, and it's just another religion, just like the New Age movement, just like all the other cultural religions. It's just a form of mind control to hold us back from the recognition of the truth that there is no authority inherent in human beings, and there is no right to command. There is no right to coerce or to compel or to put someone under duress or to do violence to them. Those rights simply do not exist. It's amazing to me, Will, with all of the information that's gone on all over the world, that people still yet do not recognize that. They do not understand that authority is a false religion. They do not understand that government is a false religion. Like you were talking about earlier, what will it take for people? How much will they have to suffer? What will they have to lose? How uncomfortable will they have to get? I'd like to hear your take on that in the future. But just even before you get into that, about what you see the future holding for humanity if they don't learn these lessons, I just realized we're both wearing a variation of the same shirt about know your rights. And I didn't even, because I got so in depth in the discussion, I didn't even realize that we did not plan this, folks. That was not planned. That is a synchronicity. We're both on the same, I guess,
Excellent.
mental wavelength. And I'm just realizing that we have two variations of the same basic, theme on our shirts. So pretty interesting
I'm
how
glad
it works
you just
out
pointed
like
that out. I didn't even make the connection. That's great.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Awesome. Good synchronicity.
Definitely a little bit different. Mine
Leo
says,
full moon.
those who don't know will never say no to evil. And what does yours say?
Know your rights and where they come from.
And where they come from. Exactly. They do not come from human beings. They come from the universe itself. They come from the creator of the universe. They are natural. They are inherent. They are inborn birthrights as a result of being born into creation, and they do not come from human beings, and they most certainly do not come from governments. So I'll let you give your take on, what I just laid out there as far as, how much people are going to have to suffer, if any amount of suffering will reverse the course, and how people still unfortunately don't get that very simple concept, and maybe what we can do to help, get that into their heads.
Yeah. Powerful question. And unfortunately, we are going to suffer. Absolutely. The current human condition 100% is slavery, for sure. But yet I am not a slave in my spiritual being in my mentality,
That's
in
right.
my mind. We need to live free as best as possible and spread this message. And if we don't get numbers on it, then absolutely the condition is going to get worse, 100%. I'm a firm believer that nature herself will intervene at some point when the sickness is too much for the planet, if that makes sense.
Right.
We've seen catastrophes, global catastrophes in the past, and I think there might be something with that. Who knows when that will be? Hundreds, thousands of years. Who knows? But the point is that absolutely we are going to suffer for sure if we don't understand how. The most basic thing in the world, you're born, you exist in reality, and you interact. Does your interactions cause harm? And how do we apply this? It's so fundamental. And if we don't come into this awareness quickly, for sure. I mean, we're in the transitional period right now,
Right.
is how I see it, into the new control system. So that's why I see it as great opportunity. But at some point, you have to act. And when I first started doing an audio podcast, late 2019, it wasn't something I wanted to get involved, but I just did it. I just hopped on the computer and started doing an audio podcast. So that's kind of my question to people. At what point will you go public and start talking about freedom, natural rights, objective morality?
What do you think holds people back from that process? Do you think it's just a fear of public speaking, or is it some deeper psychological issue?
I think it's definitely fear and cowardice and laziness. I can say that's what it was for me for, a year and a half of why I didn't get out there. It was always like, okay, I'm going to do it soon. I'm just putting it off. I'm putting it off. And I realized that I had more work to do within myself. This is why I love your energy. I see you as the fire element. This is what's going to light the fire under people's asses. And you have done that to a lot of people. You've inspired them to act in the moment and get out there and start making content. And I think that's really important. And, we don't need 1,000 Mark Passios. We have a Mark Passio and a Will Keller. We need different types of people and flavors. This is the point of doing the one great work, is that it's going to create a ripple effect with all different types of energy. And to me, that's a beautiful thing. We need to get it going for sure.
Because people will accept and investigate some things from other people that they won't accept and investigate from me or even from you. Everybody has a unique way of reaching other people. They don't have to take it from Mark Passio. They don't have to take it from Will Keller. They can take it from anybody that's putting it out there. And if somebody's putting it out there at a very powerful level, maybe different kind of people will gravitate to them, but they'll get the same knowledge. They'll get the same information into their mindset, and they'll adjust their behaviors accordingly. That's why everybody has to stop thinking along these lines like, well, that person's out there and they're doing it, so I don't need to get out there and do it because they're doing it. That's not the point. You're missing the point altogether. The point is, you may have special talents and capabilities. You may have a certain way with words. You may have a certain charisma that could activate tens of thousands of people. Who knows? You don't know what you're capable of until you try. That's the whole point. Millions of people might resonate with a person who's so far, up until today, has been silent. If we can influence them to speak, maybe 1 million more people will come online to the truth. You never know who's going to do it. And that's why I keep telling people, don't say, I'm going to leave it up to someone else. You have to get involved. You have to get on the battlefield yourself. You have to be the man and woman in the arena. And unless you're actively taking part in that, you're shirking a personal responsibility to the truth and to true morality. And therefore, you are somewhat complicit in allowing the overtake of evil and tyranny. The voice is what changes a society. I mean, I have to say it over and over again. The universe is spoken into existence. The universe was spoken into existence by the creator of the universe. Its vibration, its energy. Okay? That's what underlies all form and function. But we co-create our reality through the voice. What we put out through our voice changes the overall aggregate way that our reality is functioning all around us, our conditions. That is changeable. That is not set in stone. The law is set in stone, right? The natural law of the universe is unchangeable. It's eternal. It's immutable. But the human condition is changeable if we set our mind to it. And that's great news. That means if we want to undo this condition, we can undo it tomorrow if we want. It's about what we believe in our mind and what we are speaking with our voice. So, Will, I'll let you wrap up with whatever final thoughts that you want to say in the formal interview part, and then please tell people where they can find all of your work, and then maybe let's go over to the phones and take some questions from callers who are waiting in the call-in room. How does that sound?
Beautiful.
Great.
Yeah, I love it. And yeah, to wrap up, I think it's important that it's the great work is first. The Hermetic adage, right? That the internal process, we have to discover what we love to do, that attribute about ourselves, and then apply it to the external world with the message of freedom and morality. So the great work and then the one great work, the internal and the external. It's really important. I think a lot of people, they see content creators and kind of think that they have to do that or do what this person is doing. In reality, you're your own person. You need to tap into that creative essence and get into that flow state. And that's on everyone to discover and then activate. Right? What is potential is not actual. This is the thing about free will. Free will is always there. We have this, absolutely, but it must be activated. You have to act on free will. Make that choice. So,
and
really
quickly,
important.
as you said, the internal work comes first, and then the one great work to influence and affect other people's minds for the better. And that could be done in a myriad of ways. There is one solution to slavery. That is the one great work. That's why it's one great work. It's not two or three great works. It's one. But that can be done in a myriad of techniques and ways. It doesn't mean it's one technique. It's one work for the ultimate long-term goal, but it can be done in a host of different methods.
Well said. Absolutely. And how do we reach the unconscious masses? And I've said this in past interviews as well. We create art, right? Art is that external expression of our creative essence with the message of truth, morality, and freedom. This is what we need to do because art inspires. Most people think it's just painting or paintings and stuff like that. No, we're doing art right now.
That's right.
And then this will be available for people to view. It will become a artifact.
Yep.
And people can watch this interview and tap in and get the energy that we are putting out there in this episode. And that's the beauty about incorporating technology because we need to immortalize the artwork.
That's right. Beautifully
really
said.
Really important.
Beautifully said. Will, tell everyone where they can find your body of work.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I'm going to recommend everyone go right to the One Great Work Network. I have all my links on there, all my content. Highly recommend people check out my presentations. I love doing presentations. I have one on freedom and then a 2-part series on conscious parenting and some other ones as well. So that's a great place to start. We're still doing, my partner John and I are still doing the Natural Freedom League video podcast every once in a while with great guests. We had Mark on there and a fantastic list of other truth speakers and seekers. So that's naturalfreedomleague.com. And also I'm a co-creator for the Freedom Under Natural Law Conference. And I highly recommend people go there and check out freedomundernaturallaw.com. Check out the past conferences that we did. And we are working on Funnel 3 as well. So some people can go there and get the date and the graphic, and we're going to be listing the speakers in about a week or two.
Awesome.
So those are the main links. But go to the one-stop shop, onegreatworknetwork.com, and all my stuff is on there.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Keller, what do you think? You want to take some phone calls? We'll go to the phones.
I would love to.
Great.
Let's do it.
All right. So, we have a bunch of people waiting here. Let's hear from James Cordner, fellow One Great Work Network content creator. James, you're live on What on Earth is Happening with my special guest, Will Keller.
Hey guys,
How you
what's
doing?
going on? I got my kids in the background.
That's okay.
I'm so happy to. I'm doing well, Will. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. Good to hear your voice, man.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, listening in on the last, I don't know, I'd say about hour of the show today. I got in a little late, but I really like where you guys took the conversation, and I really appreciate it. You know, I've been inspired by Will about conscious parenting for, well, just after the last Seed conference, and Will and I met. That's my daughter, if you can hear her. But we've met, and we've produced a bunch of content together to kind of cast a wider net when it comes to this, because it really does start, like, we have to be conscious of this. And if we're conscious of it and we have children, what right do we have to keep it from anyone else? What right do we have to keep it from our children?
Right.
I mean, for real, our own kids, we got to make sure that they know
That's right.
that that our freedom is depleted. And here is the equation to make sure that we have freedom. You know, I always tell my son, who's 6 years old, where it's like, yeah, I want to take it easy on educating you because we are doing the homeschooling and we're doing our best. But I always tell him, like, you know, I got to get you to learn how to read. I got to get you to learn how to do math, because these are the keys to freedom.
Sure.
The earlier you can learn this, man, you're gonna know. You're gonna be able to seek knowledge yourself. And you know, it's so great to hear you guys talking about that today, because I've been kind of I kind of needed to hear it. You know, I talked to Leslie Powers and Derek Bartolocelli the other night about this exact same topic, and that episode isn't released yet, but we talked on Friday night about this, and it was just one after another, just excellent points being brought up by them. And we had a very lovely conversation about this very topic. And I think that this topic doesn't get really spoken about as often as I personally would like to see it be spoken about, because a lot of us, we focus on teaching people that are at the same level as us.
Right.
But we don't understand what we, I think, oversee a lot of the time is not really creating the world in which the children could grow up in, where that's what they know.
I see this.
Because we grow up in a world where
I was going to say
statism.
Right. Right. I see you know? I see this question a lot. Like, can you point me to resources specifically designed for children? I think that's what a lot of content creators in the future are going. We're going to have more content creators that are going to gear things for younger people. And that has to be done. Obviously, that has not been my general direction. And this is why we need a lot more content creators. This is why we need a lot more people speaking out. Some people may speak out to children and, you know, tailor the information in a way that they can more readily receive it and make it not be such a traumatic thing for them, where they receive it gently. That's certainly not my approach. I'm speaking to adults, but this is a very, very great point that you're bringing up, James, and I hear it a whole lot. And James, before I let Will respond, I just want to say thank you for your contribution to the One Great Work Network, another great content creator chiming in here on this important topic that we were discussing earlier of conscious parenting. So, James, thank you so much for your comments, and I'll let Will jump in and respond to that.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mark. And James, your work is fantastic. So I highly recommend people check out James Cordner on the One Great Work Network. Yeah, this topic does need to be talked about more. And I just want to give a shout out to parents like yourself, James, and the conscious parents that are out there. also to the fathers out there that are active, conscious, stepping in, and the mothers as well. But fathers are definitely taking a beating. I'm in California, and it's brutal sometimes. It's absolutely brutal. So activating that willpower, this is a huge motivating factor for me, because when my daughter is grown, I want her to know that I fought for freedom, right? I don't want her to ever ask me, well, what'd you do? The world is shit. What did you do about it? I want her to understand that the work that I've created and the effort that I put in. So that's a huge motivating factor. And I get the question a lot too, is, well, how do we teach natural law to children? I'm actually working on a whole website dedicated to this, and I'll make that public when it's ready. But I'm even a video series on teaching the natural law principles, and I do it through gardening, which I've done with my daughter, which is fantastic. But we can teach rights, morality, and natural law with our children just by being with them every day and operating in the real world. It's amazing the stuff that you can point out to them so they make that connection. And really, it's one thing to talk about it, but, description is not explanation. We need to be it and activate.
That's right. Our behavior is the greatest influencer of all. It's the greatest motivator and the greatest inspiration, without a doubt. So I see you have you're also a doggy daddy. You got your little guy there on your lap. He's cute.
That's Pocket. He's a Chiweenie.
Nice.
I went from having four Rottweilers in my life to a Chihuahua.
That's awesome.
It's
Chihuahuas are awesome, courageous dogs, I have to say. So let's move on to another caller. Let's see. We have a student from the How to Become the True Media seminar, Jackie, on the line with us. Jackie, welcome to What on Earth is Happening with my very special guest, Will Keller.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Thanks for taking my call, Mark.
Good to hear from you.
Hey, yeah, first of all, I just want to say, I wanted to say thank you for both of you guys. I think, Will, you were moderating the How to Become the True Media seminar. And just thank you so much for putting that on, because it really increased my confidence to start getting to work, It just filled in a lot of the gaps of the technological skills or knowledge I was missing. And
I have to say, Jackie, if I may interrupt you for a minute, I have to say your attention was great in the seminar. You asked all of the right questions, a very inquisitive student, and that's what the seminar is all about. So thank you for enrolling and attending, and for the great job that you did in paying attention and learning during the whole course of that seminar. It was very apparent.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and something you guys said earlier just kind of hit me hard, where you were saying that a lot of people want to be type or keyboard warriors and just post memes. And I kind of realized that was something I was doing a little bit, like putting too much energy into just making posts that are just going to stay on social media. And it didn't register that, like, when the next PSYOP happens, that they could just shut my profiles down. Right. So I'm going to probably pay way more attention to just putting material on my own website.
It's a good method.
You'd be surprised how much time that you'll have, to apply to your own work.
That's right.
When you analyze certain habits like that. And I was definitely in that boat. Just going back and forth in comments, arguing with people, that kind of time invested in social media. And when I cut that out, I call it, post and ghost.
Right.
Here's my new episode. Go check it out. And then I get off social media. So I'm very with my attention on there, and it freed up a lot a good amount of time.
I'm smiling because that's what I do before each show. I'll just scramble to just post on as many social media platforms as possible. Here's the show I'm doing. Go and check it out. That'll stand for all time in a formalized way as a part of the body of my work. And I like that approach. I like that you take that approach as well, Will. And I think that's how we can utilize social media for the better, actually. Like you were saying, just getting involved and going around on the hamster wheel of like posting and arguing with people, chiming in on comments. It's designed to keep you in that state of constant opposition and angst, and it doesn't do anybody any real good. It's better to use it as a promotional platform and let their operation work to promote our operations.
Very important to understand where we apply our energy. And, and observe that on a daily basis. And it will definitely open up some great insight. And Jackie, your website and your work is fantastic. So thank you, Jackie, for putting that out.
We should definitely talk in the future about bringing you on to One Great Work Network as well. So let's stay in touch and let's talk about that because I'll be bringing many more content creators on over the next year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm flattered. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jackie.
Bye-bye.
That's one of the great things about how to become the true media is, I mean, of course you have the course, the class itself, but then the after class. I mean, to me, that's like a golden opportunity for someone that wants to go public, but, might be a little nervous. Like this is the best space to practice that. Turn your video camera on. And we've seen a lot of people kind of gain skills and attributes and get
help each other
in that realm.
Yeah. All the while helping each other.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I do not partake in the after class too much because of all the prep and then delivering the actual, teaching material. But I have lurked in some of them and seen what people are doing, and it's right on point. So that's a big dynamic of how to become the true media is, and I think people have become friends as a result, and they network with each other and help each other out, and that's what this whole seminar is all about. So if people are potentially thinking about taking it, you will encounter dynamics like that, and it has become a community unto itself, which is great. That's what I like to see. All right, let's see who else is waiting in the queue. Let's hear from Chris Jansen, another One Great Work Network content creator. Chris, you're live on What on Earth is Happening with my special guest, Will Keller. Welcome. Chris, you're unmuted from my end. Just unmute your mic on the call window at the bottom of the main call window. There you go.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, how are you?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
I'm doing great. It's just makes me so happy to hear you two speaking together, two of the most inspirational people I know. And I just wanted to speak a little bit to two things that were brought up, networking and setting the example. When 2020 hit, I was faced with some really difficult choices. And Mark, all the preparation of listening to your work over the years had really prepared me for understanding freedom. And I was pretty firm on putting my foot down on what I wasn't doing in 2020. And that caused a lot of division with I had two teenagers at the time and my ex-wife of 17 years. And I wound up moving away from them. And I'm still a big part of my kids' life. I communicate with them regularly, but I couldn't stand there and be part of what was going on, the way things were going. And Will Keller, during that period of time, was someone I reached out to, and he was a support network for me. And we spoke out, and we found other people in this community who were also on the same page. And it took some bravery, and for me, it was pushing through a lot of little walls to set that example. But at least I know, even though my kids don't see things the way I'd like them to, I think school really did a number on them, and I feel bad about putting them through school, but it happened. And but at least they know I'm very clear about where I stand on these things, and I've been public about it and speaking out loud. So thank you, Mark, and thank you for Will for helping me put me in this direction. And hopefully someday my kids will come back and listen to some of this stuff and see what Will's been doing and I've been doing and the other people in our community. And I think I just want to give other people the advice out there. connect with other people in this community, be part of the network, and set the example in whatever little way you can, and it will make a difference. It does have a ripple effect.
Absolutely. Chris, thank you so much for those great comments. Will, your response?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's excellent. Chris is a dear friend of mine, and we've known each other for a few years. And I want to say this, that I think it is important to have a support group or network, because the awakening process and being aware of what's going on, it can be brutal. It can do a number on you, especially if you don't have that outlet to express and to communicate with other people, on a personal level. So having a meetup group. This is, Chris and I and a few others. This is how the Funnel Conference started. It was just a support group. We'd meet once a week online. We just, we all check in and really just support each other in this endeavor. And then that just snowballed, and we got closer. And then it was time to, we want to create action externally out in the world. And that's how we decided to start the Funnel Conference. So networking, I think, is crucial, and having that support community is great.
Absolutely. It's a big part of what I am trying to do and what other content creators on One Great Work Network are trying to do. It's called a network for a reason. We are networking with each other. We are sharing skill sets. We are trying to help each other when we encounter problems, not only in the creative work that we do, but in life, as was just being talked about between Will and Chris. And that's what it's all about. It acts as a support system in many different ways, not just technologically or just philosophically. So, Chris, thank you so much for the work that you put out on One Great Work Network. Very valuable contributions to the network and to the One Great Work as a whole. So thank you. Let's hear from Conrad. Conrad was another great participant in the How to Become the True Media seminar, and he's moving toward content creation himself. Conrad, welcome to the What on Earth is Happening show with my special guest, Will Keller. Go right ahead.
Hey guys, how am I sounding?
Coming in loud and clear.
Good. Welcome, brother.
Great to be here. So to jump right into conscious parenting, I turned 27 3 days ago. My mom's birthday was yesterday, and I was just talking to her, and she said, man, a single mother, so she was like, oh, you were raised by the wolves. Nobody taught you anything. And I said, Mom, you got it all wrong. I didn't have any negative knowledge to unlearn. I didn't have a hole to dig myself out of. And now I appreciate so much, just that freedom and respect to see the world as it comes in. And then when I heard Mark Passio, I'm like, man, this guy sounds a lot like the voice in my head. And then I hear Will Keller later. I'm like, oh, I like what this guy sounds like. And man, it's just so great to be here, getting activated now. And this is where I need to be. And that's just a testament to conscious parenting. Don't have to be perfect, but man, do no harm. And I certainly was done no harm. It was cool, Will, hearing about your background, how it's very similar to mine. So very synchronistic,
Excellent. So, thanks for that, man. I want to say something real quick. What's the quote they say? Learning is for beginners. Unlearning is for professionals, and relearning is for experts. So I think that's important, what you said about negative knowledge. I try to explain that to my dad as well. He was like, oh, some of your views I don't really agree with. And I'm like, Dad, but you don't understand. We're talking about morality. And then he then once you bring it in that realm, he totally understands, and he's down with it. So great comments. Thanks, Conrad.
And it is all about relearning, because it's about truly remembering who we really are as beings in consciousness. That's what it's all ultimately about. And Conrad, I want to thank you so much for your comments on the show here today, but I want to also remind you, I have not forgotten about you. I will get to onboarding people, new people on the One Great Work Network soon, and I've taken a look at your content, and I like what you're doing and your contributions to the One Great Work, so let's let's definitely stay in touch. I've been very difficult to get a hold of by my own admission because of my schedule and what I'm having to deal with during this current year. But I will be patient, and I will onboard you very soon. We're going to be onboarding several new people this year. So Conrad, you'll definitely be one of them, and I have many other people in that queue as well. So just be patient with me. Let's see who else is in the queue here. Let's go to Sean McCann, another content creator on One Great Work Network. Sean, welcome to What on Earth is Happening with my special guest today, Will Keller.
Greetings, Mark, and greetings, Will. I'm so glad that you guys are talking about conscious parenting. And Will said these words. He said that the parent's ignorance leads to the division of the child from the parent at birth. And one of the most important things, I just want to remind everybody here listening, that circumcision is a dark occult sacrifice ritual. It's a bloodletting.
Yes.
And everyone needs to understand, to do no harm means to not harm your babies.
That's right.
And so if people don't look into it, they never think of it. I just want to remind people that in order to do right by your kid and not have, it changes the brain forever.
It's drilling trauma. You're drilling trauma into the psyche of the child, definitely.
Precisely. It changes them forever. It leads to a distrust and division between the mother and child, which is pretty much the dark occult's main goal.
That's right.
And like Will was saying, that cleaving happens at birth. And if you can destroy that bond between mother and child, the child is lost, won't trust anybody. All his relationships in the future will be harmed.
How about
if you want to have a
how about the injection of toxic substances into the child at birth?
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Harm done. And who knows what ways that manifests over time. It manifests in a myriad of symptoms and breakdowns of the physiology and the mentality as well.
Right. Yeah, they attack the brain directly. And that, like the adjuvants and all the negative elements of the injections, they go right to the brain. And the same thing with this torture. It goes like your body and mind are connected, and that type of traumatic attack on the body is a traumatic attack on the brain. And that is what's most important. Like I said, your wounds heal, but your brain never does. And it changes babies forever. And, do no harm, everybody. I just wanted to tell everybody that. I love you all. And thanks for letting me say that.
Thank you so much, Sean. Will, your response?
I agree 100%. The birthing process is the most sacred process. And I feel that women and men are giving up that experience, especially women. You need to claim your empowerment on that experience. And this is done through, generational mind control. The norm is a C-section in a hospital. That's just the normal way of birth, right? Same with circumcision, vitamin K shots, all this kind of stuff, ultrasound, all that stuff is trauma. So, like we were saying earlier, Mark, this is a trauma matrix for a purpose, to fracture that psyche and to it just lets the mind control sink in and really sink its claws into it. And that will, Sean, like you said, the distrust between mother and child, right? Mother is God in the eyes of a child.
Right.
That connection needs to be rock solid. And then, it just snowballs into the cliche, the rebellious years of teenage years where they rebel against their parents. That's total bullshit. What is happening is that there's a mistrust and a miscommunication
from the start
on really how to from the start. Exactly. And how to treat each other and all that kind of stuff. And then you get the children that are turning away from their tyrant parents and looking for these institutions and culture and that kind of stuff. The proxy parent.
And could easily go in a very southerly direction very quickly. It can head south quick. If, again, that strong bond isn't preserved from the time that child is young. And if that kind of mistrust is instilled and festers, look at what it did with me. look at the direction I went in life earlier on. It could take you to very, very dark places. So that's why Sean very correctly said this is part of a satanic ritual. That's what it is. It's ritual bloodletting. It's absolutely, those are not two strong words. That is exactly what it is. That's an exact description of it. We want to encourage people not to take part in rituals and bloodletting like that, because all it does is traumatize the very, very, very young child from their infancy. So, Sean, thank you so much for that and reminding the listeners of that. Without a doubt, couldn't agree more. Let's hear from Rebecca. Rebecca, you are live on What on Earth is Happening with my special guest, Will Keller. Rebecca, you are unmuted from our end. Go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes. I just wanted to back up what the last speaker was talking about. My son's turning 21. Oh, sorry, he's 21, turning 22. And way back then, I had a home birth because I knew the system was not right. And I had to go with my gut, and I had to go. Well, I didn't have to, but I faced a lot of opposition in doing what I was going to do from family and friends. But it was a natural birth. He was a big baby. And, again, was able to straight away put him onto my chest and create that connection there. And then also not have to deal with the vitamin K and all this sort of stuff. Right. So he remained unvaccinated. And those 0 to 7 years are just so important for that bonding. And anybody that's raising their children now with that consciousness and being aware, I think is amazing. And well done to you, because it does go against, I guess, the constructs of society a lot. And, especially when you've got your mother or your sisters or whatever, like giving you a really, really hard time, but trusting that natural wisdom. And I describe the birthing actual experience as one of it was like an opening for me. It was like I went into a different dimension. And I received a whole heap of wisdom. And I've said for ages, I'm never going to tell anyone it doesn't hurt, because it hurts to get through it. It's like, each contraction being like a wave. I just wanted to add to that. But also thank you guys, and especially you, Mark. Back in 2020, I went back to 2013 and went through all of your natural law videos. And then all of your videos, because I did go down, I'm of the opinion, better the devil you know than the one that you don't. So I went down what Satanism actually was, right, which I never thought I'd do. You were instrumental in those early days, because I'm in Victoria, so I'm in a state where I was heavily locked down for a long time. Sure. And it was quite brutal if you went out. So it wasn't, you could just leave, because the police were brutal. So I am in the countryside, though, so that was a good thing. I just want to say thank you, guys. This has been a really great talk. And I just think, that natural law, and, I keep quoting you, Mark, to people. It's like, was morality? And it's like, no harm to any other celestial being. That's it. That's it. Very simple. And you can go from there. Rebecca, thank you so much. Simple. Thank you so much for your great comments. Will, your response?
Thanks, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's beautiful. You had a home birth. My daughter's mother and I were very blessed to just synchronistically come across this midwife that was very much aware of this realm than we were. And we had all natural birth. And it was in a hospital, but it was almost like a center, not a large hospital. And it was a beautiful experience. And she educated us a lot, that things that I didn't know. We already knew we didn't want vitamin K and vaccinations and stuff, but it was eye opening to the system of what they what they do. Like you said, Mark, it is a satanic agenda, 100%, absolutely. And it's an inversion of nature and how things should be in truth, in reality. They just flip it up on its upside down to create that stress and trauma.
Without a doubt, it's part of our whole society being ultimately one big satanic ritual, as I've talked about here on What on Earth is Happening in the past. We have to be conscious that this religion is all around us and that we are inculcated into it. As just the average members of society, and that's why we have to understand what it really is. As Rebecca was saying, it was a difficult thing for her to learn what Satanism truly is and to go down that rabbit hole. But once we do that, we understand that this is not just some fringe thing. This is all around us. So thank you for bringing that back to our viewers' attention, Rebecca, and for your great comments. Let's hear from Lisa. Lisa, you are live on What on Earth is Happening with our special guest, Will Keller.
Oop.
There you go. We hear you.
Here I am.
Yep.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. It's really an honor to speak with you.
Thank you.
Like a huge honor. I'm pretty late to this game. So much of every time I listen to you, and I've listened to everything, I only started like a year ago.
Okay.
But every episode of everything, it hits me. It's like in a synchronistic way. And even today, I mean, the first thing I noticed about you both was that you were wearing the same shirts.
It took me a while to even realize it. It's pretty funny though. Lisa, let me ask you a quick question. Let me ask you a quick question, or make a comment based on what you just said. You say you're late to the game, right? Well, you made it, and that's great. And most of humanity is late to the game. So, making it to the game at this stage is still good because we need all the help that we can get, and we need more people who are awake and aware and are willing to teach other people. I want to just right there, I'll let you continue with your comments, Lisa, but I want Will to respond to, what do you think of people who say that they're late to the game? Like, what would you say to someone who is saying, I got to this really late, I'm only now just discovering this stuff. Just comment on that right away. And then, Lisa, I'll let you continue your comments.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I feel it's never too late. I mean, it's late when we're in physical shackles and chains. But even then, we're talking about consciousness and free will. There's always going to be that possibility.
Right.
So it's never too late. Glad to have you here taking in this information. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I say this to everybody, better late than never, right? As long as you're making an effort, then that's progress. Like, we need to all come together and make, even bigger strides and bigger efforts. But as long as people are getting it and improving upon themselves, I try to keep encouraging them to keep moving forward. So Lisa, go ahead and continue, please.
Okay, thanks. Something you said, I think Will said earlier, like awareness is not the same thing as awakening in terms of where everybody's at right now. It hit me really hard because I feel like I was sort of becoming aware maybe 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. My oldest child is turning 21 like next week. And with both my kids, I had unassisted home births. I did elimination communication, like no vaccinations, no circumcision, stuff like that. So I was like coming awake, and then I sent them to public school, and and then that was like a huge step backwards. So now I'm catching up as fast as I can on everything. Now I feel like I'm truly becoming awake rather than just aware. I started a Substack back in October, and I was just wondering, it's really a struggle. Like I can put out an article like once every 2 weeks and everything. It's really hard. And I've been told I'm good at writing. And I'm just wondering, is it difficult because I don't know enough yet, or I haven't done enough work on myself yet? Is it not the perfect medium for me? Should I just keep going? Or
I'll
any
respond
thoughts on
very
that?
quickly, and then I'll turn this over to Will to respond. Don't worry about perfection or having 100% completeness in knowledge. No one does. There's no such thing. You have to put forward what you have come to know, and that you've vetted enough to know that it is true, and that you're not going to do any harm by putting out disinformation. That's just start from there and go from there. This is part of the tenets of how to become the true media. Don't look for perfection. It doesn't exist in the real world. Put out something that is good and improve upon your skill set as you go. Will, I'll let you respond to that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. The more you do it, the more that you'll grow from that, and you'll kind of fine tune your own creative style. So, I mean, and I totally get it. I've sat on projects because I wanted it a certain way and I wanted it to be perfect. And that's just an anchor in the water flow. So
Will, that's all the
go
time.
for it, activate, and keep it going.
Absolutely. Great advice. That's all the time we have for this episode of What on Earth is Happening, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, that 2 hours went by very quickly. Thank you so much to our special guest, Will Keller of OneGreatWorkNetwork.com. Do check out his material at One Great Work Network in the content creator section, and please support him by making donations. Ladies and gentlemen, government is slavery. We'll see you right here next week.